Come out of her, my people. All truth is not kind to hear. There's a bitter truth as well as a sweet truth. Come out of her, my people.
All right, praise y'all, saints. We're back on. We're again dealing with occult objects, occult symbols, occult ideologies, occult knowledge, occult wisdom, esoteric wisdom, just things that concerning, the God of this world, that He has His minions, His servants, His slaves under control. And we was talking about symbolism being a modus operandi of mind control. Because you see, especially in our time and our hour, people are striving to move themselves toward an image. You notice that? Notice that, in times like be like Mike or be like this, the fashion industry, the music industry. There's many industries out there that are pushing forth an agenda. Even though they look like they're giving you a service and providing a service, there's something deeper going on. Something deeper, because in the last days, one of the commodities that you read of in Revelation 18 shall be the souls of men. So you got to understand, we're in that time where your soul is being used as a commodity. Not for the sake of really gaining money, which they think, they're looted and they're deceived that they're gaining all the money, this fiat currency of the world. But when you look underlyingly, it's still a war between the Most High Yah and the Hasatan, Satan. That is the end result of it, getting you to hell. Getting you to hell. We got to understand that the God of this world is Satan. And it's structured as such. And it's structured in such a way because the Most High Yah, He's the originator of everything. He's the maker and the builder of every perfect and good thing. Lucifer, the Hasatan, he ain't created nothing. All he was in the presence of Yah. He saw what Yah did. And now, since he wanted to be like the Most High Yah, he's still operating under the things which he saw his Creator do, but it's in a corruptive, deceptive, dark manner. Got to understand that. The flip side, we got light and we got darkness, we got good and we got evil. Praise the Most High Yah for that. But in Revelation 13, talking about this one coming up out of the sea. If you read on the whole chapter, then a false prophet, verse 15, he said he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship what? The image. They got to worship what? The image. And you can see in this time and this hour, they're pushing you to worship an image. While the Most High Yah is getting us conformed into the image of Yeshua, what do you think the Hasatan is doing with his realms, with his works, with his ministers? That as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to what? Receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Why? And that no man might buy or sell. That is the biggest thing going on in this hour, the realm of buying and selling. Because a lot of these images and stuff we actually interact day by day on is a lot of the stuff that we buy, the stuff we see in the supermarkets, the stuff we see on the magazines, the stuff we see out there on billboards. It's just stuff that looks normal, has become normality of the day, but we actually go by and there's just everything is just inundated with all kinds of language, all kinds of symbols, all kinds of signs. And if we're not aware of the very thing which we're seeing, we can become under control of the mind control. Because, commercials, they're there to get people to allure to their lust. That's how they sell, by lust. They got a nice little jingle that gets going on in your head, and you sing the little jingle, da, 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 Next thing you know, you find yourself in the supermarket buying the very thing that you saw on the television before. or you saw in the magazine. So it's amazing that they use this kind of mind control. It says the language of symbols works on the subconscious level of the mind. Even though we may see it, there's something going on deeper that we need to understand as the Israelites of the Most High Yah, family of the Most High Yah. It says, and that no man might buy or sell. Buying and selling. We can see it getting more and more to that point in this last day. The last day is going to be hinged on buying and selling. I know a lot of people hear me all the time calling this merchandisers, that merchandiser, merchandising this, merchandising that. The reason why I say that a lot is because of what is prophesied in the end time. That everything's going to be hinged around buying and selling. This world of Satan, built around buying and selling, I read it right here, that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name, or the number of his name. Identifying marks, huh? A lot of products out there, Nabisco, Kraft. You might see the words. You might, understand the words, but they always got a little signia going along with the logo. Wonder why that is. Because these great corporations, they couldn't get so great in this medium that they're offering themselves, that they're supposedly offering service. They couldn't get into that greatness in this walk of this world without bowing down to someone. To the God of this world. And many times, many of us have been under the spell of seeing a lot of symbols. I've got symbols tattooed on my body from my former walk, my former ways. And then at the time when I did not walk and have the mind according to Yah, I was participating in the ritual of the sorcerer because of these symbols, representing these symbols, letting these symbols represent me. Because you really look at it, the only thing, the signs following believers, the only thing that's going to mark us as the Israelites of the Most High of the signs is that we're going to cast out devils. We're going to heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead. Also, these symbols are manifesting reality to His will. Satan, that's why we read about the mark. See, the Most High Yah, He's going to seal His people. And He's sealing His people. But you understand, as the Satan wants to be like the Most High, what's he going to do to His people? He's going to mark them. Mark them. Let's go to Romans. Chapter 1. Starting at verse 20, we'll read to 23. Notice here what it's saying in Romans. It says, for the invisible things of Him, the Most High Yah, from the creation of the world are clearly seen. How are they clearly seen? Being understood by the things, what? That are made. Even His eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Talking about a certain people here, because Most High Yah created things that we see for a purpose. It tells us something about the Most High Yah, as we read here in Romans. Verse 21, because that when they knew Yah, they glorified Him not as Yah. And how did they do that? Neither were thankful, but became what? Vain in their imaginations. And their what? Foolish heart was darkened. They said, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. And it says, and they changed the what? Glory. Notice that. Glory. They changed the glory, not the image of Yah, because no man has seen Yah at any time. Yah is a spirit. So because of this understanding, then they're going to change the glory. How are they going to change the glory? Into an what? Image. They're changing the glory of Yah into an image. What the Most High Yah? The first sin of Israel, what did they liken the Most High Yah to? A golden calf. It's not that they were worshiping the calf, but they said, "This be the God that brought us out of Egypt." They likened that calf. They made an image, brought Yah down to an image of a bull. And that really infuriated the Most High Yah. That was the first sin in transgression. Not only did they bring him down to that image, they worshiped that very image that they brought him down. They professed themselves to be wise, but they became very foolish. So foolish that they had to eat that very idol in their water, drink that idol. And change the glory. That's always got me. They changed the glory. That's something to do on a side study one time, the glory of Yah. Because when everything is all finished, the scroll is rolled up, everything is passed away, the glory is going to be revealed in us. Christ in us is the hope of glory. So they're changing the what? Glory. Into the glory of the uncorruptible Yah into an image made like unto corruptible man, and to birds, and to four-footed beasts, and creeping things. So they're making Yah down to the level of His creation, which He does not want to be in that image. Revelation 9:20 says, "And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not." What? Of the works of their hands, that they should what? Not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. And it said, neither repented they of what? Their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication. We're going to get into a little bit of their sorceries, a little bit of their fornication, a little bit of their thefts, because they use these modus operandi to affect our subconscious, to bring us into a submission mode, to bring us wherever they want to lead us into. You think symbols are that real? Yes. They are very real. They are very real. Code objects. Here we can see a variety, an ankh, a nice GQ picture of Jesus, deck of cards, naked angels, what they call little cherubs, and a caduceus, which we know that is represented many times by our what? Medical field. This is a highly occult object too. And it deals in the realm of Hermes. I don't know why this is showing up like this. Symbols are oracular forms, mysterious patterns creating vortices in the substances in the invisible world. They are centers of a mighty force, figures pregnant with an awful power, which when properly fashioned, loose fiery whirlwinds upon the earth. And that's by Manly P. Hall, one of the great, besides Aleister Crowley, Satanist of the 20th century. Manly P. Hall, lectures on ancient philosophy. So he's basically saying these symbols are being brought into the present from something in the spirit, for the purpose of pregnating with an awful power, which when properly fashioned, they fashion them into an image, loose fiery whirlwinds upon the earth. Deuteronomy 4:15 says, "Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves, for ye saw no manner of similitude on the day that Yah spake unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire. Lest what? ye corrupt yourselves. If they saw a similitude, they would what? Corrupt themselves. And make you a graven image. The similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female. The likeness of any beast that is on the earth. The likeness of any winged fowl that filleth in the air. The likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground. The likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. And lest thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest what now? The sun, you seeing everything vertical. Now when you look horizontal, next thing you know, you're turning this into something. And lest thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun, and the moon, and the stars, even all the host of heaven, shouldest be driven to worship them. Something will cause them to be driven to worship the sun, the moon, the stars, animals, creeping things. Because all the images that actually we are pummeled with, they're all in this category. They're all dealing with these images. They're all pulled from these images and made into these images. Exodus 20, 4 through 5. Elias read this a while ago. Let us refresh our minds. It says, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahweh thy Elohim, am a jealous Yah, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. He's talking about visiting them of the iniquity of graven image, the iniquity of worshiping of images. Yes. Yes. Now, since, we're getting ready to get into a study of this, and I am here as a servant to warn you about things that it can affect your soul, that it can affect your spirit because of the way certain objects, certain symbols, certain markings can speak to you subconsciously. Because in essence, we are spiritual beings. It's an amazing thing, that the Israel of Yah need to come up. Because the witches, the wizards, and might say the warlocks and all them that are practicing black magic have a greater faith than we do. They understand the spirit world a lot better than we do, and we need to get online of understanding what's going on in the spirit realm. Because they know that if they can invoke a demon, bring it up, and then give it bidding to go do harm against anybody, hey, they know they're tapping into something. But that's nothing that is new, as we have the same power with the ministering spirits. To ask, to call on them, and to bid them out to do good. That's why we bind and why we loose. Now, am I going to become your enemy because a lot of things are going to be exposed here today? Because the first time that I did a teaching on the cross and really the Magen David, the Star of David, the hexagram, a lot of people got upset of the truth. So am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth? Got a man here telling the sheep, danger, danger, there's a wolf behind them. They're looking forward, not looking what's going on behind them. And what do the sheep do? Because he's warning them there's a wolf behind them, they kick him away. Call him a troublemaker. First symbol, yin and yang. As I got into this, building this PowerPoint presentation, there's so many symbols out there, so many objects and things to deal with. I'm like, riddling my head, what do we present to the Israelites of the Most High Yah? Well, I'm going to present to you a lot of the basic ones, because a lot of these basic ones is a good foundation, because there's many variations of them. If you see the very simple structure and architecture that they're made out of, when you see something that has been pulled from them and made in a greater meaning, you can understand what it's coming from. Especially in Yang, there are many variations. Many variations. The yin and yang. This is a basic yin and yang. You can notice here that there's a dark piece equal and a light piece. They kind of believe that, good and evil, light and darkness got to come together in a balance to be in harmony with each other. Yin and Yang is a Chinese Tao picture of universal harmony and the unity between complementary opposites. Unity between light and dark. What does the Most High Yah tells us? Have no concord. Have no fellowship. But there's religions out there, and that's one of the biggest religions. I mean, you can see this on the Korean flag. I mean, they raise this banner high on their flags, and they're representing something. There's got to be a reason why they have put this on their flag. The reason why, it's got to be a reason why they express themselves with this image. The unity between complementary opposites, light, dark, male, female. Yin is the dark, it's passive. Negative, female, principle. Yang is the light, active, positive principle. Can you guys understand here, how the opposites, but they're putting them together, saying that there's got to be so for it to be a harmony. Yang is a light, active, positive principle. But since the holistic balance between yin and yang is dynamic and constantly changing, it illustrates the consensus process, the vision of global unity. And the blending of opposing energies at the heart of holistic health. Yin, here's somebody with a yin and yang tattoo. You can see the basis of the yin and yang tattoo, the dark and the light, and then the two dwelling within. You got the dark dwelling within the light, and then the light dwelling within the dark. But notice here, there's a figure between the dividing force with a head. I don't know if y'all can see that there. But you can start seeing the variations built upon something that was basic. Again, another yin-yang. Again, you can see it's another alteration, another illustration, but still the same symbol. Got the dark part right here, equal with the light part with the dark here, but you see there is a tiger breaking through it. I wonder, they can really look at that and you can tell pretty much from looking at it what kind of spirit be emanating from that, or what it's representing. As you can see down here, the writing, you can tell it's Asian in derivation and origin. Pepsi, you remember the old Pepsi logo? They changed their logo just recently, but still it's the same logo. It's still the same variation. With the dividing for the equal, with the dividing in between. So notice that Pepsi is one of the major pops out there, ain't it? Again, we see same thing, light, dark. This time they don't have the intersecting light part, dark part, but still the same what? Yin, yang. Sprite. Look at there. Another variation, Can still, this is many different images, but they're still pointing to the same very core yin yang. And that's products that people use every day. Pick it up, drink it, don't think no thought about it, Oh, that's a nice, cute design. That's very appealing. I wonder why it's so appealing. I wonder why they got to label their packages and arrange everything in such a pattern, to catch your attention. Something is speaking beyond your consciousness. Next one, triquetra. Many might want to know what is a triquetra. It is was simply a triangle, and it has been used to refer to various three-cornered shapes. Nowadays, it has come to refer exclusively to a particularly more complicated shape formed in three vesica pisces, just like a slit, open slit, or like a shape of a clamshell. Sometimes with an added circle or around it. It has been used as a religious symbol of things that persons that are threefold. And there it is. See? But they're all intersecting. They're all equal. Notice they're in the circle. So we can build symbol upon symbol, just as, we saw the yin-yang. Now we're looking at a triquetra. It was used in German paganism. Triquetra has been found in rune stones in Northern Europe and in early Germanic coins. It presumably had pagan religious meaning, and it bears a resemblance to the Valknut, a symbol associated with Odin. In Celtic art, the triquetra is often found in art, insular art, most notably metalwork and illuminated manuscripts like the Book of Kells. It is also found in similar artwork in Celtic crosses and slabs from the early Christian period. The fact that the triquetra really stood alone in medieval Celtic art has cast reasonable doubt on its use as a primary symbol of belief. In manuscripts, it was used panels in its design motif. This is kind of hard to read. Integrated with other design elements. Celtic art lives as both a living folk art tradition and through several revivals. This widely recognized knot had been used as a singular symbol for past 2 centuries by Celtic Christians, pagans, and agnostics as a sign of special things and persons that are threefold. Now we got the New King James Version of the Bible. And lo and behold, what kind of sign does it have on it? A triquetra. Wonder why? And this is by Thomas Nelson Publishers. Now, because it's a Holy Bible and it's the New King James Version, guess we'll look over that and say, there's nothing wrong with it. No, it's harmless. No. If anybody ever read the New King James Version, they know it's a perversion. There it is again in KJV. See? Power of 3. Can anybody guess where we're going with this? Notice again, the vesica, that's what it is. Kind of an almond shape, intertwined with one another. But they're all in unity with one another. That's because of that circle right there, denoting unity, denoting cohesiveness. Somebody with a tattoo. Looks good, huh? Pretty. Oh, I like to ornament myself with that. I wonder why they want to ornament themselves with such an object, a symbol like that. In the book The Craft, a witch's book of shadows, guess what we see as the center symbol? Another triquetra. Now, why is it on the Craft book, a witch's book of shadows, and on the New King James Version for some reason? One's going to have to, what is going on here? Again, another book of shadows. Now you think a book of shadows, you think that's righteous or unrighteous? Holy or unholy? In a band, heavy metal band, probably death metal. I think death metal is where deicide reigns at. Once upon the cross. You can see the triquetra. See the derivatation, another way of forming it. And within it, you got crosses. Upside down, right side up. Then you got pentagrams within that. But why is it doing on the New King James Version of the Bible? What meaneth this thing? Look. Christian. Now let's make it Christian. Because we know Jesus is the truth, the way, and the life. So because the unity of the three, let's not liken him into this image. The truth, the way, the life. Ain't that kind of blasphemous? Whoa! Trinity. How hard is this doctrine preached in a lot of these churches? The power of what? Three. Notice here, this is an actual sign. This is an actual organization. Trinity. 1, 2, 3, with one hand. So you can see how we build from these symbols, these images, how they build upon one another and they push other things forward. So you got a person here right up under the sign. Happy Christian going, Trinity, 3. Not knowing what in the world he's doing. Again, young teenagers at a bus. Trinity.org. They're doing the symbol. Doing the image. Because that's what they've been taught to do. Not knowing that subconsciously, Most High Yah ain't receiving this because we know our Yah is one. But though, how can He be one when, Jesus was down on earth and He's up there speaking to Jesus? Yah is a spirit. Great is His eternal Godhead in power, that He can be in glory and still be clothed in flesh. He's a great and mighty God. Great and mighty Yah. And why not? Put it on our vehicle, too. To signify, hey, look at us. We believe the Trinity. We're in the Trinity way. Trinity.org. How about the Jesus fish? Boy, these things are nice and religious. They look good, and they might have real meaning, don't they? How many of us have ever seen this symbol? That looks Christian, huh? That kind of sets you apart, sanctifies you, don't it? Sets you aside and lets everybody know who you are. Jesus in the fish, huh? Here's somebody that really religious. Not only they put the fish on them and marked the fish on them, but they made inference to the nails which were driven into His hands. So what is that? An actual crucified fish? That makes no sense, does it? But because we learned, because, our mind has been our perspective has been trained and formed by certain doctrines, been put forth, it molds our understanding, molds our beliefs. And we do stuff like this. Because they didn't like to retain God in their knowledge, they became fools. I remember when I was a fool and started marking up my body. But now, I've repented, got it under the blood. That thing doesn't even bother me no more. And I thank the Most High Yah for that. But look at that. The occultists say, a lot of the nature worshipers and everybody says we're moving from the time of Pisces. and entering into the age of Aquarius. You remember that great push in the 60s, Love Child, that great make love, not war, with that great banner, make love, not war, when in actuality they should have put rebellion in big letters. But look at that. That looks Christian. That looks religious. That's, like I said, it does set apart, huh? So why are we talking about this like this? Hey, why, I got it on my car. It's holy. I don't see nothing wrong with it. Crucified fish. Is that actually what we're saying? Is that the image that we're portraying? I mean, just think of the images. Think what they put forth. We can just look at that and all of a sudden something is registering in our mind. Something is registering in our heart. Those that know the truth can look at that and go, reject it. That's one thing that's good about real truth, Yah's truth. It is a shield and a buckler for us against that. So that thing will not penetrate our subconscious mind. They will not serve Yah in three persons. Another little comment. After eating, how can you believe Jesus actually rose from the dead? Science has proved that it isn't possible. You should celebrate something that's real. And he's trying to give him, he is a risen track, trying to, I guess, testify to him, witness to him. Then he goes on and says, Frank, hurry up. The kids want their Easter eggs now. Got to go. And what's he putting on? An Easter bunny suit. Well, because his perspective is in a spirit of what? Error. Let's go to the other Jesus. Woo! We were speaking about this fish and all these nice, wonderful Christian relics, and they all spurn from another image. Paul warned us about another Jesus that come in the last days. And this Jesus, boy, he's pretty, ain't he? Ain't he handsome? Don't he look real good? Don't he make you want to bow down and worship? There's a lot of people do bow down, and when they pray to the Most High Yah, they got this image in their mind. That's what's so sad about it. See? GQ Jesus. Who wants to be like him? Look, that's so touching, just looking at that art and that picture. He's looking up to the Father. His hands pierced. Got the bleeding heart right here. That just makes everyone just melt in worship and praise and adoration. Then again, there he is as king, still with his two Masonic votive fingers up in the air. That's very Masonic, saints. That's very Masonic. I don't go into this little symbol right here. There's a lot of you see a lot of the politicians, great world leaders, and a lot of the folks out there in high places. They give hand signals to one another, and this denotes something. That's communicating something. That's what these images are communicating one to another. Especially they are of the wicked one, the Hasatan. They use things to let each other know who they are serving. Again, Jesus with a Budweiser and a cigarette. It might as well be, huh? The other Jesus. Just these images, think about them. These images, what do they portray to us? They look good, but they are speaking something to us more, deeper. What causes, the Catholics to venerate such said art and paintings? To venerate this as the image of Yeshua. Something to think about, saints. Let's deal now with playing cards. How many of us got playing cards in the house? Need to get them out. That is a cursed object. Let me read you about playing cards. Actuality, what you have is 52 card deck. That's just a smaller version of a tarot deck. They're tarot cards. Let me read you this article here about tarot. History and origin. It says it's all about games. Mankind has forever been drawn to the playing of games. Games of chance, games of skill, and gambling. It said tarot cards evolved from ancient playing cards, and they differed from standard playing cards only in the fact that more cards were added to a deck of regular playing cards. The added cards were the trumps, known as the triumphi, which means triumphs. Also were added 4 queens and the fool. So you every time you get a 52 card deck, you got a joker in with it as well, don't you? So that's where these cards are deriving from. Everything has its origin, especially things of this world, and especially when the world in great masses and great droves, flock to these things. How many playing cards are in houses throughout the world? A lot. How many people are drawn into playing poker? Slot machines. There's something about these cards that draw them. It's a game, but it's more than a game. Then it says, so why add 20 more 6 cards to the standard deck of cards? It was for the development of the game. Today, tarot games are point-trick games in which you must trump if you have no card of the suit led. The 21 new trump cards were added to perform the then new role of being trumps. The 4 queens eventually replaced the pages in a modern standard deck of cards, but the pages still remain in most tarot decks as part of the courtyard cards. Court cards meaning the jacks, the queens, and the kings. When looking for the origin of tarot cards themselves, you will find that most historians believe that the first deck of tarot cards was created in Milan, northern Italy, sometime in the early 15th century. These cards were designed as playing cards. The thing that set this new card deck apart from others was the addition of the 4 queens, the fool, and 21 trump cards. Praise Yah. Need no more say that on that wise. So we're going to look through variations. Even though how many of us are familiar with playing cards? Everybody should be familiar with playing cards. Now, as we go through the next set of slides, you can see, different variations, but they're still the same thing. That is a tarot deck. That is a French tarot deck. Any similarities there? Except, it's just a little bit of derivation from it. Regular playing cards that go up in denomination from 1 to 10 or something like that. I can't remember. It's so long since I've seen a deck. And then they start with the court pieces. Again, any similarities between a regular deck and a tarot deck? And if you go to a fortune teller, a soothsayer or something, most of the time they'll tell you your future with these very cards. They'll shuffle them and they'll just throw them out one by one and start reading the cards, and they'll tell you your destiny. Again, that's that full deck. Notice any similarities? Again, another form. But now we're getting into the occultic side of the tarot cards, where these cards are used to tell fortunes. Just think you get this card right here dealt to you, the devil. Notice the names of these cards. The devil. See, notice the images. That's what I want y'all to focus on, the images. The images tell us something. There's something deep within our spiritual being that have an understanding or a certain draw to these images. If we reborn saints of the Most High Yah, old things have passed away, behold, all things become new. These things really don't have no place with it anymore. We look at them and go, we know something, there's like a red flag goes off in us. But while we were in our former state, we didn't think nothing of the like of such things. We just accepted them wholly. The images are something else. You notice most of the images on here are depicting something in the spirit, though? How about owls? How many households have little trinkets? Nice little figurines, nice little pictures, nice little statuettes. Another thing that you need to get out of your house is all images of owls. Because if one set of people do know about owls, it's the elite in the occultic realm. They worship them because the owl is a nocturnal animal. And he does see in the dark. He does see in the dark. And many times you hear the old thing added to the owl that he is wise. So they just add it to this image and people receive it hook, line, and sinker. Sinker, huh? Look at Harry Potter. One time this was a great craze going on in the world. Everybody's Harry Potter this, Harry Potter that. And then it changed over to vampirism. And everybody was going after, what was it, Twilight? What was it about Twilight that appealed to everybody? A lot of us here that's been at Straitway, we look, Twilight, what's Twilight? I come in contact with, because I work at Walmart, I just see these things daily. And you see them, you just go, oh. The stores are inundated with them. You can't even go check out with some kind of occult object or occult image or something there. You're just sitting there and all of a sudden an image is right there at your side and somehow it's saying something to you, so you got to look at it. These magazines, they're very, very diabolical. The way that they lay out the front and the way they show the things that they show, just so that they can sell you something, so that you might be interested. You might want to pick up and inquire because, Jesus foretells of 25 destructions. People that are religious, you go, oh, that's Jesus. We need to look into this. This is prophecy. It's according to our perspective, according to our belief system, according how we've been reared up, determines how we will walk in our life. That's why the Most High Yah wants us to get this word in our heart, so it'll be a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path, because we're in a dark world, and it's growing grossly dark every day and grossly evil. Because we got to walk by faith and not by sight. So we see these things by sight. We got to get an understanding of reason why they are presented to us, why they are manifesting themselves in the physical for the reason that they are manifested. Again, Bohemian Grove, place where a lot of heavy-duty politicians, world leaders go to from time to time every year to have their little naked parties or whatever they're going to do. I ain't going to talk about all the acts that goes on there, but you can see once they have this little incantation to this big gigantic owl structure. They're all out there, and then a sacrifice is made and everything. Alex Jones has done a good documentary on that if you ever want to go see it. But notice the main center of attention, the main image that portrays who they are, what they're about, what they represent, again, is the owl. And they said, spiders come not here. Weaving spiders come not here. Notice again, I noticed that. Notice symbology, the owl. And the circle. We've seen a lot of symbols surrounded with this so-called circles, meaning some kind of unity, some kind of globality, some kind of oneness, trying to denote it, because it's fashioned that way for a reason. It's portrayed that way for a reason. Whoever fashioned that, whoever got the idea in their head, it had to come from somewhere. We got to understand that's where our fight is. Everything starts in the spirit with us first. That's where a lot of our battles take place, in our mind first. There's things presented to our mind, things presented to our soul, and it's up to us whether we're going to yield our mind, will, and emotions to it. Because if a bad thought comes to our mind, are we going to dwell on that thought, or are we going to bring it into the knowledge of Yeshua and cast it down right before it gets to that gate and starts tearing up the house? That's where we got to get the gate, and the war started first. Then we'll find out a lot of our war will be quickly won. Our victory will be very victorious. But if we let a lot of these phrases that are introduced to us, a lot of these images that are introduced to us, overtake us, then we find ourselves in a bigger war than we want to be. So we got to take the battle to the gate. Again, another depiction. But look at this. Does this look holy? Does this look righteous? How do you know? Now, if you had no knowledge of the holy, no knowledge of the right, no knowledge of the truth, then you could not have anything to contrast this against, could you? If it was a straight heathen, we'd look at, oh man, that's cool. I want to get my car seat covers done in that. I want to get me a nice tattoo done in that. I want to get my car hood spray painted with that. That looks cool. And I'm going to drive around and everybody's going to look at it and they're going to look at me and I'm going to be cool. And I'm just pulling from my own mind, from my own experiences, you know. You know, visually that does look appealing, don't it? But you really start taking it piece by piece and going, that's pretty foul. That's very wicked. But notice in the background, wow. And he's got a third eye. Right above him, another eye. That eye is bloodshot, though. But notice again, symbols. I mean, this thing is saying a lot just in one look. Anarchy, rebellion, upside-down crosses, pentagrams, skulls, another upside-down cross with the horns, death, death, death. And that owl he looks very happy. He looks like very joyous, don't he? No, he looks very angry, don't he? And this guy, I don't know what's going on. He looks just plumb disgusted or something. What that does to the unconverted mind, that would probably appeal to it, wouldn't it? Because of the cosmetology of it. But then people don't understand, you know, the reason why they are drawn to this, what familiar spirits that were invoked to the creation of this. Because the spirits can be invoked to do music, do art, do all literature. People can tap into it, and the demons will just speak right into them, and they'll pin it out, they'll play it out, and everything. But there's something in man that, especially with rock music, that he can relate to. You know, there's music, especially when we're on our heathen side, that appeal to us. You know, it would sing lyrics over and over, and you know, there's like "Lost Without Love," you know, or something, you know, that we're familiar with. And you know, and the song might be a tearjerker, a tear in my beer, and I'm crying for you, dear. You know, and you can relate to this song because I've been in that situation before, and that song just brings me back to this situation, and I can sit there and get drunk and have a tear in my beer with it. You know, I mean, just so the relation to it is just so amazing. What appeals to the unconverted man, and that's what we got to be on guard to us. Those things which are unholy, unrighteous, unconverted. Why are they appealing to us in the manner that they are appealing to us? Again, we got an old, very old architectural denotation. Woman's got hawk feet. She's not clothed. It's a spirit of lust just emanating from that. She's even got these symbols here, which means something we'll learn about later. There's a derivation, there's an alteration there of a symbol. But you see, she's standing on the backs some kind of a creature there. I don't know what it is, jackals or maybe some kind of lions or whatever. But notice on each side of her, left and right, owls. And I don't think this is made from a civilization that worshiped the Most High Yah in any form anyway. I think its derivation or its origin is probably Indian in manner. But there are just, in this whole edifice, this whole structure, there's a lot of things put into the artwork of it, meaning very much. Anybody ever seen a right side up star? Many times, just in the weirdest places. That is a pentacle. And there's a thing that some people call white witches, white magic, white good, doing good spell casting, doing good witchcraft. And they liken the five points to air, earth, water, whatever it may be, the basic elements of the earth. Let me see if I got anything written on that. How about the owl? I forgot to read this about the owl. It says, owls are an amazing example of God's handiwork. Depending on the species, owls' eyes may account for 1 to 5% of its body weight. Owls are fixed, forcing the bird to look ahead, straight ahead. However, an owl's neck has 14 vertebrae, which allows it to turn throughout the whole range of motion. In fact, owls can turn their heads a full 270 degrees. But it says, as birds of the night and birds of prey, notice that, the owl has been embraced as a symbol associated with psychic powers. The angel of death, the goddess of night. Greek, Roman, and Celtic mythology all employs owls as representatives of spiritual influence. Hinduism also uses the owl as a symbol of cosmic spirituality. Of all the various usages of owl symbolism, Native American religions and their shaman priests, witch doctors, have placed upon the bird numerous spiritual associations. The Cree believed that the whistle sounds of the boreal owl was a summoning call to the spirit world. If an Apache dreamed of an owl, it was held that death was on its way. Cherokee shamans viewed eastern screech owls as consultants on punishment and sickness. To this day, practitioners of Native American spiritual traditions hold that the owl represents vision and insight. Back again to the pentacle. That is, most of the time you see the circle around it and the star and the symbol. It usually is indicative of white magic, white witchcraft. Again, this is the goat of Mendez with the moon right here. I ain't got the whole figure to really tell you about, but notice in his head there, a pentacle. But most of the time, this is a kind of a wrong picture. It should be inverted. Which just gets to the pentagram. The pentagram. It's the same symbol. One's upright. Now the other one's turned the opposite 180 degrees. Again, anybody ever been at been part of a heavy metal concert or seen people at heavy metal concerts when they're doing their praise and worshiping and they're banging their heads and they got their hands up? How many of you have seen this sign before? Wonder why they're doing the sign. They're paying homage to something, huh? They're showing a representation of something going on, something which they believe. So you notice right behind it, the pentagram. It's also indicative of a hand signal of the goat head as well. Now we've seen the pentacle and the pentagram. And notice, right there at Washington, D.C., we got a place, that houses great intelligence. CIA and BSA and whatever they may be. This is called the Pentagon. But notice how it's structured, though. I believe this is the entrance right here, if I'm not mistaken. And you got the sides here, but if you start putting triangles on every part of these ends here, it's like the triangle's been cut off, and this is the center of the pentacle, or the pentagram. This one actually is arrayed in a pentagram fashion, without the triangles on each end. And that's a nice place called the Pentagon, our part of our government. Let us get into another religious symbol called the hexagram. It's got a unique name, hex, huh? It's also known as Magen David, Shield of David, or as it's commonly known, the Star of David. It is the symbol most commonly associated with Judaism today, but is actually a relatively new Jewish symbol. It is supposed to represent the shape of King David's shield, or perhaps the emblem on it, but there is really no support for that claim in early rabbinic literature. It was a mystical symbol consisting of two superimposed triangles forming a star hexagram, today regarded as a Jewish symbol. And we know that the flag of Israel flies this proudly. No problem. Although occurring in Capernaum synagogue, 3rd century CE, it was in ancient times predominantly a non-Jewish decorative motif. And it was also in Roman mosaic pavements. Also is found in Christian churches in the Middle Ages. While absent from contemporary Jewish decoration, is not mentioned in rabbinic literature. It says, regarding star worship, the Jewish Encyclopedia says this is perhaps the oldest form of idolatry practiced by the ancients. The observation of the stars in the east very early led the people to regard the planets and the fixed stars as gods. The religion of the ancient Egyptians is known to have consisted predominantly of sun worship. Moses sternly warned the Israelites against worshiping the sun, the moon, the stars, and all the host of heaven. And it may be said that the prohibition of making and worshiping any image of that which is in heaven above implies all the stars and other celestial bodies. Amazing, huh? Wisdom in the Apocrypha 13:1 says, surely vain are all men by nature, who are ignorant of Yah, and could not out of the good things that are seen know him that it is. Neither by considering the works did they acknowledge the workmaster, but deemed either fire, or wind, or the swift air, or the circle of the stars, or the violent water, or the lights of heaven, to be the gods which govern the world. Notice that. That's in our Apocrypha, in Wisdom. With whose beauty, if they being delighted, took them to be gods, let them know how much better the Most High is of them. For first author of beauty hath created them. It says the hexagram also has a sexual connotation. It represents sexual union. The triangle pointed downward is a female symbol, and the triangle pointed upward is the male symbol. When they are interlaced, and it represents coitus, or sexual union of the active and passive forces in nature. Just as we learned from the very beginning, the yin and the yang. Same thing going on here. They're interlacing. The balance, so-called balance, but is from things created and not from the Creator. So the former which reveals, when the male triangle penetrates the female triangle, it produced the six-pointed crest of Solomon, or hexagram, the most wicked symbol in witchcraft. So this very symbol also, too, listen to this, was adopted as the family crest or shield by the Rothschild family during the 19th century. The Rothschilds brought a great deal of property in Israel. Whoa. From the Turks and the Arabs. and were amongst the major supporters of the Zionist movement in the early decades. It says the influence of the Rothschilds and their heavy financial support of Israel, that land Israel, not us Israel, led the Jewish nation to adopt the so-called Star of David as their own symbol as a nation. It makes you wonder, United States and Israel are real close together. It's almost like Israel's got its hooks. And just reading that very little about the hexagram. Notice how the change, this symbol actually says a lot, too. I think Rahm Emanuel was the ambassador to Israel, if I'm not mistaken. Or as he still is, I'm not sure. I'm not up on that. Again, the Oracle of Kabbalah. Notice what it's got on the beginning of the book. A symbol. What is that? Another hexagram. And a bunch of little hexagrams right beside it. Again, in witchcraft, this was a place of sacrifice. Right here, I don't know if you can see on the ground, but the very same image is on the ground. A hexagram. Because whoever was doing this service, doing this ritualistic service, this sacrifice, knew that this is probably the most powerful force in evil. That very symbol. Most powerful symbol in the occult. Now, does that look good? Look at it. Notice again. Look at that visage or that image in the middle. Do you think that's something of Yah or the God of this world? So why are all the Christians and all these religious folks are so enamored with this star? You shouldn't be. So if you got anything in your house, any plates or anything with these type of symbols on it, don't go haywire and go, devils everywhere! Just know what the reason why that they're on there. Some people will literally go nuts and tear up the whole house. Because this looks like this and this looks like that and that. Like, get rid of it. Be chunking stuff out the door and burning it. No, just practice control and discernment. And what I'm trying to show you is what to be aware of. And to know, the reason why certain things are marked the way they are and the reason why they're marked the way they are. Again, on our own money. In God we trust. Wonder which God they're trusting in. Notice here, the great symbol of the United States. With all kind of occultic crap going on within the talons of the eagle. 13s, 13s, 13s. Right up here, 13 stars, but they are fashioned. When you connect the dots in the form of a hexagram. But looking right at it, just straight at it, you couldn't really see that until you actually connect the dots. Next thing you know, whoop-boo! Hexagram. But that is not the Star of David, no. No way, it cannot be. It would not be associated with. He would not be associated with it. If he had anything on his shield, it would probably be a menorah. Or if anything, it would probably be just a plain shield. Because the Israelites of old, they didn't have to put up some kind of emblem or some kind of image or something declaring who they were. The Most High Yah was going to declare who they were if they obeyed Him. He'd be the one. And especially in our time, in our hour, signs are following them that believe. We don't put up signs showing who we are. We got signs following us that believe. Now this is the seal of Madame Blavatsky. She was very instructive in Hitler, what Hitler believed. Aleister Crowley, she was a very occultic person in her time. And she showed this. This is the symbol she represented herself with. Notice the kingship there with the crown. And the Ouroboros, the snake that's continually going on and on perpetually. Notice the hexagram and certain other sigils right beside it. So this thing is, to her, this is speaking a lot. This represents a lot. I do not, for the sake of time, want to go into every bit of this, what this image is saying, but it is telling, you could write a pretty good paragraph on it, the depicting of what this is actually saying, or what is depicting, or what it's actually meaning. So it's actually a language. There's a whole language within this, that people of the elite, people of the occult realm can look at this and, yes, she's saying this, and she's saying this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this range this way, so it's saying this, so it's telling them something. And at the very top, you can see a swastika. And you can see where Hitler got some of his symbolism from too, huh? And this is the oldest form of the actual hexagram. It is actually the sigil of Saturn. Chiun and Remphan were likened unto Saturn. So when anybody would draw a picture or depict Saturn, this is the actual sigil of Saturn. And we won't go on to that. If y'all want a better explanation, I did a teaching pretty much explaining that whole thing on the Star of David. And what about now? We've dealt with Christianity, Judaism, now Muslim. They venerate themselves and show themselves with this crescent and a star. It says the star and crescent is best known symbol used in, what does it represent? Islam. It features prominently on the flags of many countries in the Islamic world, notably Turkey and Pakistan. It says, surprisingly, the symbol is not Muslim in origin. Rather, it was a polytheistic icon adopted during the spread of Islam and is used today and is sometimes controversial itself in the Muslim world. It said the crescent and the star are often said to be Islamic symbols, but historians say that they were the insignia of the Ottoman Empire, not of Islam as a whole. It is important to keep in mind that Islam has a few traditional symbols, and the crescent, moon, and star are not ones that are recognized by traditional symbols by Muslims. The symbol is due to cultural diffusion and the spread of Islam to the Ottoman Turks, who ruled a large area and also put the crescent, moon, and star symbol on their flag. It has since become associated with Islam. You know, since Islam always, what they always call it? Allah, Allah, Allah. But Allah is not a name of Yah. Allah in itself means God. It's not a name. It's not a name at all. Enough said on that. The cross. Good old cross. Guess who this represents? Christianity. But in Scandinavia, the toe cross symbolized the hammer of the god Thor. Babylon, the cross with the crescent moon, was the symbol of their moon deity. In Assyria, the corners of the cross represented the four directions in which the sun shines. In India, in Hinduism, the vertical shaft represents the higher celestial states of being. The horizontal bar represents the lower earthly states. But in Europe, the use of the human effigy on a cross in the form of a scarecrow has been used from ancient times. Notice that. In scarecrow, huh? In prehistoric times, a human would be sacrificed and hung on a cross. The sacrifice would later be chopped to pieces. His blood and pieces of flesh were widely distributed and buried to encourage the crop fertility. So the pagan sign of the mystic toe of the Chaldeans and Egyptians, this cross was a symbol of the Roman god Mithras and the Greek Attis and their forerunner Tammuz, the Sumerian solar god, consort of the goddess Ishtar. Conveniently, the original form of the letter T was the initial letter of the god of Tammuz. During baptism ceremonies, this cross was marked on the foreheads by the pagan priest. Amazing, huh? Now let us read about another form of the cross. This is what Constantine saw in a vision when he was going to war. And he said, by this symbol, we will conquer. It's called a labyrinth. So on the evening of October 27, 312, with his army preparing for battle of the Milvian Bridge, the Emperor Constantine I had a vision which led him to fight under the protection of the Christian God. After Constantine had the vision of the cross, he had his army promoted another variety of the cross, the Cairo or the labyrinth. This has subsequently been explained as representing the first letters of the name Christos. But again, this had a pagan origin. They were found as inscriptions on rocks dating from the year 25 BCE, being interpreted as a combination of two sun symbols, known as the axe or hammer symbol of the sun or sky deity, and the plus or the X as the ancient symbol of the sun, both of these signs having a sensual or fertility meaning as well. Another proof of its pagan origin is found on a coin of Ptolemy III from the year 247 to 222 BCE. Amazing. What's amazing that this cross, actually this was the first form of it that Constantine started putting throughout his empire, but it was Constantine's mother who brought the other one into being. It was by Helena. Now read this. She also found the nails of the crucifixion. Said to use their miraculous power to aid her son, Helena allegedly had one placed in Constantine's helmet, another in the bridle of his horse. Helena left Jerusalem and the eastern provinces in 327. Notice this was in 312. Now she's doing this in 327. To return to Rome, bringing with her large parts of the true cross and other relics, which were then stored in her palace private chapel, where they can still be seen today. Her palace was later converted into the Basilica of the Holy Cross in Jerusalem. In Jerusalem now. This had been maintained by Cistercian monks in the monastery which has been attached to the church for centuries. So a little information on the cross there. Now we get into another form of the cross, the Ankh. Now this is a heavy-duty Egyptian fertility symbol. It has the cross on it, then it has the female regenerative area. Ankh, an emblem to identify the wearer as a worship of the sun god Ra, a seeker of Satanist beliefs, and one who practices the worship to the unknown gods of the supernatural. It symbolizes a mythical eternal life, rebirth, and the life-giving power of the sun. So you'll see this in many derivatitions. You'll see it sometimes in a lot of music videos. You'll see it in the music industry. You'll see it on certain books. You'll see it out there in many forms, in many instances. Just be aware of how it looks, though. Again, there is the Egyptian hieroglyph of it with the scarab beetle in the center. You know, the Egyptians were not known for worshiping the Most High Yah. They were multi-deity. They were polytheistic. You see a lot of symbols right here. And that's how the Egyptians kept history, by a lot of symbols. And these symbols were a language to them. And then still the same thing is going on today. these symbols are being a language performed throughout the world. Again, you notice the woman here feeding the man. The same symbol. She's like she's getting ready to feed it to him. See, a lot of these pagan cults and pagan rituals, and like Easter and Christmas, they are sexual in nature. It's amazing, their core beliefs. Again, man with the staff, serpent head, and you go down, representation of the Ankh, then multi-crosses. It's all Egyptian, all from years of antiquities. Next symbol, good old Nike. Now, I know that's probably going to upset a lot of folks because they probably wearing a lot of Nike tennis shoes. I need to get rid of the Nike tennis shoes if you will understand now what this symbol is derived from. Let me read you a little bit. Nike. In Greek mythology, Nike, meaning victory, was a goddess who personified victory. And you notice who they use to sell their shoes? A lot of athletes, huh? A lot of athletes wear them shoes just to get you to buy it. Be like Mike. Why? Mike got on what? Air Jordans or whatever they call them? So people put out that image. They see him as a great superstar. And I put on them shoes and I can be like Mike. I can go throw and dunk some hoops. Who personified victory, also known as the winged goddess of victory. The Roman equivalent was Victoria. Depending upon the time of the various myths, she was described as the daughter of Pallas, Titan, and Styx, and the sister of Kratos, strength, Baia, force, and Zeulos, zeal. Nike and her siblings were close companions of Zeus, the dominant deity of the Greek pantheon. According to classical later myths, Styx brought them to Zeus when the god was assembling allies for the Titan war against the older deities. Nike assumed the role of the divine charioteer, a role in which she often is portrayed in classical Greek art. Nike flew around battlefields, rewarding the victors with glory and fame. Notice how that's working in there, huh? The aspects and the attributes of this God symbolized in a symbol. And then you see Nike itself, who it uses to promote their product. And they fit together, don't they? Amazing, huh? Nike is seen with wings in most statues and paintings. Most other winged deities in the Greek pantheon had shed their wings by classical times. Nike is the goddess of strength, speed, and victory. Nike was a very close acquaintance to Athena and thought it to have stood in Athena's outstretched hands in the statue. I notice that saying speed. And the only way somebody can be speedy is with their feet. So that's where it's worn, huh?
Uh-oh. Look at them.
Amazing, huh? That these things go beyond what we actually consider. Just do it. That was Nike's big time slogan, huh? See? Another Nike shoe with the God of War on it. Boy, that's nice looking, ain't it? That's pretty, ain't it? How many like to adorn their feet with that one? Israelites wouldn't. Because we know something about our old nature, our old man, it appeals to a lot of corrupt things. Nike, goddess of victory. More depictions of her. There she is in the Greek pantheon. That's her full visage with the wings and everything. Pin feather in her hand. Female deity. Nike, just do it. She is the Greek goddess of strength, speed, and victory. Notice that ad. That's amazing, huh? Anybody else ever seen little winged figurines called cherubim? Get them out of your house. They're unholy and they're ungodly. Not making any image of anything that is in heaven above. I don't think there's going to be like Pastor always cracks up, makes jokes about these naked little babies with their butts showing, with wings flying around. And there's a time of the year called Valentine's Day where one of these supposedly is supposed to go around with his bow and arrow and shoot the people's hearts and make them fall in love. Pagan to the core. See? Another little one sitting on a ball, but look at it. Don't it look so pretty? Don't want to make the yard look so good? Want to just brighten things up and draw attention to our yard? Have any of us ever dealt with a Ouija board? Or seen a Ouija board? That's something you don't need to delve in at all because you'll curse your children, your children's children, and this thing will go quite a few generations. As he's making these images of other gods, that the Most High will visit the iniquity of the fathers unto the third and fourth generations because of these very acts. Ouija. Now look at this Ouija board. Notice here it's got a pentacle on it. That probably might be a white witch Ouija board. No matter what, but still, we still got images of the moon and the sun, galaxies. Just a lot of lore. We got these alphabets here and these numbers here. Then you got some answers here. Don't know, maybe. What the actual person would do, he would actually invoke the spirits into this little triangular little thing. What would they call it? A planchard. And then they would move the thing around in circular motions, and if it caused their fingers to stop on a certain area, then the clear part of the planchard thing would show the letter, and they start writing down the letters, and it would spell a word to the question spoke. See, there it is right there. And that's the actual thing that they would put their fingers here, spin it around, they'd ask the question and have the Ouija board to answer it, and the letters would show up in this area here, and they'd write it down and get their message. Speaking with the dead in the spirit world, necromancy is very forbidden by the Most High. How about Pokemon? How about little toys? How many of us got a lot of little cultic toys in our houses? We need to start looking at these things and get these things out because demonic spirits are like attaching themselves to these things. There's a lot of toys in a lot of houses causing a lot of havoc, causing children to do strange things, cause them to have strange behaviors. Pokemon. I think that's short for pocket monster. And why we want our children to play with junk like that? Why we want our children to watch vampire movies, fairy movies, anything of horror and death and such like. Israelites have no part of it. Again, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Deck of cards that people play with, and they're playing with their soul damnation. And all of them depicting spiritual things and spiritual crevices and spiritual palaces. And these people get into these cards and actually assume the roles of the people in the cards like Dungeons and Dragons, and then they invoke a spirit within themselves. And next thing you know, they're in deep trouble. Look at a little nice little Neopet. When you like to bring that into your house, just look at that thing. Just as a Hebrew Israelite, you look at that and go, no way, Jose. That thing does not look right. How about brats? Girls wearing their pants, their makeup, and sporting every ungodly fashion. I mean, it's just all about fashion, all about the outward appearance, all about, fitting in, all about the status quo. It's amazing that even, children at their level, they're being pummeled with so much occult lore and occult images and occult toys. Look at here, a game called Diablo. We know who Diablo is. Diablo, what is that Spanish for, Brother Juan? Devil. Diablo, Spanish for devil. Who want to play a game like that, huh? And you see right beside it, World of Warcraft. Do these things look holy, right, and dust? No. Should we have them in our homes as Israelites? No. How about a nice little fairy doll, Peter Pan, with sparkly pixie dust? These things look nice, and they might, have a nice little plaything with them, but they're cultic in nature. They have no place in an Israelite home. How about a puzzle of mystical shapes? No, it's got a wizard on top with all his nice little symbols all over him. A fire-breathing dragon. The knight going to kill the dragon. Not good stuff at all. Bunch of shelves out there in Walmart and Target and everywhere just inundated with this stuff. It looks good. It appeals to the eye, huh? The lust of the eye. The lust of the flesh. And the pride of life. A lot of this stuff appeals to it. There's some kind of familiar spirit that draws. And children are drawn to it. And the toy corporations know. They know that there is a certain way that they got to perform their package and make the toy look so appealing that they've done studies on the nagging factor. How long the children will nag their parents to get them something. And I see this at Walmart a lot. I mean, young extortioners at a young age. They'll throw a literal fit to get something. And just for the parent to get them shut up because, they're drawing all attention to them, and they should be taking that child somewhere and giving it the rod of correction. Israelites will. They'll go, I'll get you that if you shut up. And they go get them, and that child, I've actually seen them get so upset. They got these little carts with these seat belts in them. I saw this little girl so upset that she was grabbing the seat belt and putting it in her teeth and just growling. She was so upset she couldn't get what she wanted. So what is going on in the subconscious, even at a child's level, that they would go to such extremes to throw a temper tantrum to obtain this junk? Again, some of the movers and shakers of this world, many of it's known as the Illuminati circle. This says how the Illuminati create an undetectable total mind control slave. We can see it going on in our hour. Especially with these holidays. I see people just go nuts over these holidays. And if they're coming in at the last minute and we're out of something, oh, you ruined my whole Christmas. I'm going, what? You ruined my whole Easter. I mean, they'll throw a fit, they'll cuss, they'll slam stuff. I mean, just because, they're conditioned for these holidays. And it's more than just being conditioned for a holiday, because people are being conditioned for something greater coming down the line. Mother's Day, Father's Day, this day, that day. People rushing in. It's Mother's Day. I got to go get a flower and a card, flower and a card, flower and a card. Valentine, I got to get a box of chocolates and a flower, box of chocolates and a flower. And if they have not done that, then they feel very let down. They have sinned. The eye of Ujat, the evil eye. Its possible origins range from the third eye of Hinduism, as we've seen a vestige of that earlier, and yoga to the Vesica Pisces. The earliest known use of this symbol is the Egyptian eye of Horus. From a Masonic point of view, this can be interpreted as the enlightenment of seeing things as they really are. In the context of the third eye, or as a symbol of the gods watching over us, as with the eye of Horus, this symbol also called the eye of providence, sometimes referred to in Masonic rituals as the all-seeing eye of deity, is found in the ritual of most jurisdictions, reminding a Mason that his words and deeds are being judged by the supreme architect of the universe. In modern society, the all-seeing eye is usually equated with authority and surveillance. Notice that. This interpretation can be seen in the logos of organizations such as DARPA and the U.S. Defense Advanced Research Project Agency's founders of the Internet, and MI5, British intelligence, to name just a couple. Both of these organizations could be considered the all-seeing eye of their respective governments. From a biblical standpoint, there is not one single verse in the Bible that refers to God as the all-seeing eye. The eye is a Masonic symbol used in occultism to refer to their deity. So why are the Seventh-day Adventists so in love with these occult symbols? The symbol of the eye can be traced with the HDA organization as far back as 1874 when Ellen G. Wyatt, she was the prophet of SDA, and her husband James White conceived the Way of Life lithograph depiction of the eye. Said this eye, his power was symbolized by an eye over a scepter. The sun was termed by the Greeks the eye of Jupiter and the eye of the world. And his is the all-seeing eye in our lodges. The oracle of Claros styled him king of the stars and of the eternal fire that engenders the year and the seasons, dispenses rain and winds, and brings about daybreak and night. And Osiris was invoked as the god that resides in the sun and is enveloped by his rays, the invisible and eternal force that the sublunary world by means of the sun. And that was quoted by Albert Pike, founder of Masonry. And this is a depiction, again, from Egypt. We've seen a lot of symbols coming up out of Egypt. That's actually permeated to these days. And these, back in the earliest hieroglyphs, in the tombs and in the pyramids and all of the living places that have been excavated. Again, you see what? The eye. Another eye, hawks, water, Physica. There's that Ankh again. Just a lot of things going on here, but it's telling something. It's telling a story. It is a language speaking something. There's a band there taking that very symbol just for the sakes of fame and fortune. A rap band called Mob Deep. What do they call it? Blood money. What do you see? The 13-level pyramid, no capstone, but an all-seeing eye. Now, what's the reason why they want to put that on their album cover? What is the use of that? What is it actually speaking? No, they depicting two thugs here. They're showing how they dress. And a lot of people will look at this and then start dressing the same way because this appeals to them. Because they're sitting there looking like this, got all the jewelry on, got the nice little seal here, sitting on top of a bunch of money. And people in things' mind said, man, if I start doing this, I might acquire the same thing. In on your dollar bill. 13 levels and the all-seeing eye. In God they trust, huh? They trust in Satan. The Great Seal. Even Nickelodeon, the children's channel. Lightning bolts, all-seeing eyes, everywhere. And they play that probably as a nice little intervention between cartoon to cartoon. Looks harmless. Looks nothing wrong with it, but the child sit there and watching that because usually when they're watching that, this stuff is moving around and making all kinds of noises. There's music playing behind it and everything, so it's appealing to them in some way. It's feeding something into their subconscious. And you think, not Nickelodeon. Looky here. Another famous person. What's her name? Lady Gaga, yeah. Look at her depiction. You know, it's a lot of makeup these days that a lot of women are wearing when they wear it heavily, as almost in that same force of the eye, of something. The makeup is there to accentuate the eyes. So the eyes are known as the windows to the soul. But she is doing something more. She is telling something greater. She has this on for a different purpose. Again, Lady Gaga again. Notice how her makeup is done. And people will watch the video and they'll rock back and forth and they'll get along with her and whatever she's singing about love or whatever crap she's singing about. You know, they're in full submission to it. There's something about, you know, these videos that they take advantage of the eye gate and the ear gate at the same time to bring people into submission to servitude. Because the people actually bow down themselves, let down their guard, which as we as Israelites should never let down our guard. We should always be on notice. Well, there's times in times past, you know, where we would bow down to this and whatever the lyrics, whatever the music compiled the way it was pushing forward. It was fed into our subconscious and it was forming us from the inside out. Again, there's Madonna, like a virgin, huh? Again, she's depicting all-seeing eye. And these people of great fame now. She had great fame, she still does now. She's grown on to greater fame since she's done corrupted other ones below her. They work on the type of pyramid system, and I think they get people up under them that they mentor, and I don't want to go through that whole process. It's just nuts. Again, Ozzy Osbourne. Why is he doing his hands like that? And looking right there, he's saying something more than just to sell his album, huh? MC Light. Look at that. Forming her hands in a triangle. Well, guess where her eye is placed? Very strategically, right at the top, huh? Look at there, football. The Knights. And they got a symbol on the back of their helmets. What is it? A flaming triangle with an all-seeing eye in it. I don't know who this is, but you see the Pinnacle right there. Some band called ELSD, whatever that is. All-seeing eye, so just another form of it. Horror show, destruction, black Jesus. We see the pinnacles here, Just full of occultism, and these music groups just like putting their album covers all over with this stuff to appeal to a purchasing public. Because the purchasing public will have some kind of relation to this to draw them to it to buy it. Again, earth, wind, and fire. One time, great band. But they went along this plane just to sell albums. They had to sell their souls, sell themselves. And then in the time, they had to make representations of who they were for. Yeah. Earth, wind, and fire. See the eye? See right there, I don't know if you can see it, but that is a hexagram. Supposedly, Star of David. An Ankh right there. Got a cross there. Another Ankh down here. Another all-seeing eye. Just symbols all around them. And notice, again, it's Egyptian in nature. So what are these people in these groups drawing their power from? Probably, in this instance, Egyptian entities. Calling upon Egyptian spirits. And they call them into themselves, because a lot of musicians that are way up there, they give testimonies that when they get up on stage, they shut down and something else takes over. And you know, this is all in the realm of media. It's from between the physical and the spiritual. It's all, either we're going to serve the Most High or we're going to serve Satan. Ever seen this before? This is actually at St. Peter's Basilica, the Vatican. There's a lot of symbols been derived out from the Vatican if you look overhead in an airplane. So you notice, you've seen that. I don't know if I can go back. No, I can't go back. Can't go back on with that mouse. But as before, you've seen the same structure that was in that part of St. Peter's Basilica, the circle. That is the swastika right there. Let me read you about the swastika. One of the most important and widespread symbols in ancient religion, mysticism, and magic is the swastika or tetraskelion. Essentially, it is a Greek cross with its arms of equal length, each with four arms and right angles, either right-handed, regarded as a male symbol implying good fortune, or a left-handed female symbol. The right-handed form is sometimes known as gammadion, i.e. formed from joining four gamma letters. The swastika is generally regarded as a symbol of the power of the sun, and it may have been derived from a circle divided into four by cross times. Because the pagans, they know this symbol very good when they watch the stars. And what's one star constellation they watch throughout the year to mark their Sabbaths is the Big Dipper. And the Big Dipper is formed in this type manner, but as the year turns, as you know, globe, the Earth circles the sun, the Big Dipper turns in its position. And that tells them whether it's going to be Beltane, Samhain, or whatever time of the year to do their actual Sabbaths. So they actually watch the stars. So this is actually also a pulled down from the stars from the Big Dipper. But notice that very form and that very shape is in the architecture of the Vatican. Again, there you are. Good old Pope, good old Elizabeth. Now you notice something, about the Vatican, because right here in the center, I think there's an obelisk. There's only 3 like that in the world. There's one here, Washington, D.C., one in the Vatican, and one in London. But look at this. Notice how it's shaped like a key. And at the same time, it's shaped like a keyhole. Notice right there, that's where, we saw that swastika. Right there, you move that building, and then you got that symbol there. But notice here, the British flag. The way it's got a cross in it. It has right there. Now look here. Now some other religions have pulled this off as a solar wheel. There's a lot of links to this actual thing. This way this thing interacts with one another in this world is amazing. Again, St. Peter's Basilica from another point. All these right here overlooking this yard are all Greek statues, Greek goddesses. Right here, all around. And this calls this a holy place. This calls this the birth of Christianity here. Roman Catholicism. The mother of harlots. Again, we see it's depicted like a keyhole. Same time looking like a key too, don't it? Amazing. And we saw the swastika derivative of this point here. Look at there. This is the Dalai Lama. Greatest Tibetan Buddhist, I think it is, of our times. Most revered. Look in the background on his flag. We actually saw it in the court of the Vatican, right? Have you ever seen Procter & Gamble products? Man in the moon. Stars. Why do all of these products and all these corporations have to have symbols? Well, they're speaking to one another and they tell who their God is. Starbucks coffee. This is the old logo. It used to look like that. Notice the mermaid. Star. Crown. derivative of an old mermaid passion. BP, British Petroleum, where you get gas. Flower, lotus, and also a depiction of the sun. Oh, they'll have BP, and then they'll have their big insignia trying to show who they are. Citgo. Back on our dollar bill, fullness, we see all the occultness going on. And I think right up here, somewhere up in this region, if you magnify it enough, there's an owl sitting up there on the one. Good old Pope there, Pope John Paul. Wonder why he's got an inverted cross in his throne here. That's Catholic. We can tell Pope John Paul cursing somebody right there. Got his hands laid on somebody. Roman Catholic Church. Big old fat pig. And guess who's sucking up against the tits? Christianity. You'll see it, huh? Look here. United Nations. You see it? Got Condoleezza Rice there. All this, Sergio Leroy, I think that's his name. Secretary General, Javier Solana. All them big dignitaries up there, huh? Notice each one's got their own flag right behind them, huh? Why they got to fly flags? What's the reason with the flags? Amazing, huh? What goes on in this world? What's woven in the fabric of this world? So the end of all things, one of us, what do you do then? Man, you got all this going on around us, got all this in our houses. First thing, just get your house purged, get yourself purged, get yourself clean, get the mind of Yah in you, get the spirit of Yah moving you. Just think on things above, not on things of the earth. For we are dead, and our life is hid with Christ in Yah. This by no means was an exhaustive lesson on symbols and symbiology, but it was just something to get you into the field, get you acquainted with, get your conscience shocked to understanding what is out there. Now, many of y'all probably take this from day on, and when you go out there, you'll start seeing, I see it there, and I see it there, and I see it there, and I see it there. Then you'll start understanding, what's going on. We know there's time coming, like I said, buying and selling. People are going to be marked because of buying and selling. You see, everything that's bought and sold today, it's got to have some little seal on it, some little emblem, some little image on it, to help sell it. Wonder why. That's the things we got to start looking into that on this realm. Then we got to look into ourselves and see what kind of imagery that is in us. What kind of idolatry is in us that goes beyond symbolism? What are we symbolizing? Our basic doctrines, the things we will believe, that when they manifest on the outside, they'll show us who we are of. Either we got a spirit of error or we got the spirit of truth. Many of us are still walking around with symbols of rebellion going on within us. Symbols of hatred. Symbols of bitterness. And it comes out of our mouth. Abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. So the Most High Yah wants us to speak a lot differently and act a lot differently and pattern ourselves, because people, when they see our sisters go out there into the world, they look at them strange because they're covered. And that's telling them something. A lot of women out there will see somebody covered, and there's something in them that knows that they're shameful. And they'll actually, once they see a sister that is covered up, and they see they're uncovered, they'll see them going. But they don't understand what is going on subconsciously, what's going on in the spirit. So there's a lot going on, saints, more than meets the eye. Many of us can just rack our heads like, oh my God, there's so much out there. What do we do? My advice to you is to stay with the people of Yah, stay in the family of Yah, guard your thoughts, guard your eye gate, guard your ear gate. Be careful what you listen to, because you just might have music going on in the ear, and you sitting there grooving to it, and it's got a good groove, but you're not really listening to the lyrics. And that rhythm compilation or them drums will get you into a trance, and they can speak anything they want to in your conscience. And then later on you're wondering, why is this going on with me? Why is that going on? Why am I dreaming like this? Why are these things visiting me at night? Why am I having thoughts like this? So we got to be careful, what realms of media we come into contact with. The things that we think on. We got to think on things that are just, things that are true, things that are just. So we are the people of the Most High. We got signs following. We don't have to put up a sign to show who we are. Our signs will, the casting out devils, cleansing lepers, will show who we are of without a doubt. With people without knowledge, they see somebody casting out devils, they will go, they'll know right off the bat who you are of. So this is just a small teaching. Maybe later on we might get into the deeper stuff as Most High will lead. And many of y'all can probably, if you're allowed of the Most High, get into a greater understanding, getting greater study of what's going on with these symbols, symbology, objects, and whatever, because it's amazing what kind of language that is actually being put out forward with these symbols and these figurines and everything. And we got to search ourselves and see what's in ourselves, what draw ourselves to that, what draws ourselves to certain types of music, certain types of art. So we've got to learn to discern on that plane, on that measure. So we thank the Most High Yah for that, and I bless you all. Bless you all, family of Yah. Hope this is some way. I know it's probably quite lengthy, probably one of the longest teachings I've ever done. Praise the Most High Yah for that. I bless you all. Hope it was a strength to you. Hoping, it helped, that imparted into you something that will help you in the realm of discernment when you're out there amongst the heathen to watch out for. That is the purpose of what we do here, to help strengthen one another, build up one another, help each other discern, get the knowledge of Yah in us so we can walk in this dark, evil, wicked world. Thy word is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. That's the only thing that's going to keep us in this journey. Praise the Most High Yah for that. We thank you, Most High Yah, for your word. We thank you for your life, because your life is continually residing in us, knowing that we are alive. Just pray in the days ahead. The days grow more evil, that we be more discernful, to keep our hearts and our minds from being diffused, from being assaulted, from being raped by a lot of things we have no understanding of. But thank you, Most High Yah, for giving us understanding. Just thank you in the days ahead for keeping your people, the family of Yah, drawing us closer in this end time. May we be helpers of one another in all things as we get closer coming to home. We do bless you and praise you, glorify and thank you in the wonderful name of Jesus. Hallelujah, amen.
Uh-oh. Look at him looking.